Hey guys, it's Olivia.
And Rachel back with another episode. And today we're going to be talking about something insanely prevalent in today's society.
And especially in high school, which is body dysmorphia or negative body image.
You know, now that we're talking about it, an idea just popped into my head that it's so much less spoken about when it comes to males.
Yeah.
So I just want to say, if you're a dude listening to this podcast, we see you, we recognize you, we know this isn't just a female issue, though that's what tends to be spoken about more in the media and in conversation. We understand this is an all genders issue, and anyone who struggles with body dysmorphia or comparing yourself to these false, just completely photoshopped photos on online, social media, and the internet, we see you and we're here to talk about it and we recognize you.
Yeah. So I first want to start talking about what Rachel just brought up, which is social media and Instagram or TikTok influencers, and how I feel like a big one referred to is the Kardashians. And but it's really with just tons of people who have a big following. They'll use Facetune or some type of app where you can like push your stomach in and then like push your waist out and push your chest out and like different stuff like that, and creating an absolutely unrealistic standard of like, oh, this is what a good body looks like. And I mean, first of all, I just think that's ridiculous that someone is using such a big following of people who look up to them, and they're using it just to boost their ego almost and be like, oh, look what I look like I look good, instead of putting out the idea of like positivity, any positivity, and it's regarding body positivity, regarding any of their followers' bodies.
You know, I feel you, and that's why I am so insanely against Photoshop.
Yeah.
I don't care. I understand a lot of times it stems from insecurities, but by photoshopping because of an insecurity, you're feeding into that stigma, you're feeding into the idea that it's okay, that you're allowed to falsify what you look like on social media. And in the same way, you're still setting those unrealistic standards because you're editing yourself. And I mean, I was there. We've all been there, you know, middle school.
Yeah,
and
the middle school days.
Definitely middle school. But even, you know, I think about it, it's so sad. In middle school, I think I may have photoshopped my body. I didn't know how to Photoshop my face, so I would cover my face in every single picture. You cannot find a picture of me from middle school without a hand in front of my face because I was so just embarrassed of how I looked.
I remember around, we're 17, so around like 6th grade, I remember that was a thing, like that was the pose to do in pictures, is to like put either like 4 fingers or like 3 fingers or like your whole hand in front of your face and cover it. And like in 6th grade, that was just the thing everyone did. And it makes me so sad thinking back on it. Like, it was popular to hide how you look.
Yeah, and even recently, like, I thought I could confidently say I didn't struggle with, you know, body self-esteem issues. And then recently, I went on a trip, and I liked how I looked, and I took pictures, and then I went to post the pictures, and I was like, oh, I don't remember my stomach looking like that. And I genuinely was considering, I think this was a few months ago, I was considering, should I edit it? Because I loved the picture. It was gorgeous, but it like kind of hurt me to look at the picture and want to post it because I didn't like the way my stomach looked. I was like, I feel like I don't want my stomach to, like, my stomach looks big or my stomach looks like wide. And I was deciding, should I Photoshop it or should I just not post it? And that was a really weak moment. And I'm being honest about it because it took a few days and then I woke up. I was like, I'm literally president of Women's Empowerment Club. Like, what am I doing? I am so against Photoshop, and here I am like even contemplating like cinching a waist. Like that's just, it's not disgusting because I understand it comes from insecurity, but I was disappointed with myself, and I swallowed my pride and my insecurity, and I posted it as it is, and it's still on my social media, raw, obviously not edited, but it's just like I just had to get over that because your body's beautiful and we don't have to succumb to these fake standards. Like, oh, I could go on forever. I'll let you talk.
So the reason that I have like two things to say real quick about the reason that Rachel and I decided to do this podcast episode today. I don't know if you guys know, but every time we do a podcast episode, it's like something we're currently like going through or like something that is prevalent for us or important to us. So we were just having a conversation this morning about the fact that we don't really like to wear makeup that much, and like on occasion both of us do, but I've just noticed myself less and less like wanting to. Even like I had a dinner last night and I was like I feel like a year ago I would do like full face foundation, bronzer, highlighter, like everything like that, and I was like I just feel like I kind of look pretty, like maybe some mascara. And I think that that's something that also, I know this is about body, but face too, just about looks in general, is makeup and kind of the societal idea that like, oh, bigger, thicker eyelashes are better, and then like more shaped cheekbones are better, and like a thin nose, but it has to be pointy, but it can't be too pointy or like big, or like I don't know, just a million different things of like, this is exactly the right way that your face has to be shaped or else your face looks wrong and you need to buy this thing to,
or you need to contour to make it look right.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Contour is interesting to me, actually.
When you think about
that
it.
It's kind of reshaping your face. And don't get me wrong, like I wear makeup. I do. So this is nothing like against makeup. And if it makes you feel pretty and confident, like I love it. But I just think that it does kind of put out this idea, like there's this, I'm just touching on the idea, like there's this right way to look. And something that I was thinking about yesterday that led me also to wanting to do this topic for the podcast is that back, I mean, I don't know how long, what, like the 1600s, whenever like the royal thing was like a thing, I think it's like a few hundred years ago, where being overweight was actually attractive because that meant that you had money and so you were able to afford food, and so that was an attractive thing. So it's really interesting that like social media and makeup and Photoshop and different types of clothes to wear are perpetrated as like the right thing or like the right way to look, when it was completely different a few hundred years ago. So there's no like valid basis or like scientific evidence off of why like this is the right way your face should look, this is the right way your body should be shaped.
And like she's saying, beauty standards change so much, and we're all so susceptible to it. Like a few hundred years ago, having a more prominent and bumpy nose was considered more beautiful.
That is true.
It was considered royal and more beautiful, and now people pay to shave their noses. You know what I mean? It's like we can't keep conforming to these societal expectations of what is beautiful and what we're supposed to look like, because you are perfect. You are handcrafted. You are beautiful the way that you look. You have to embrace that. You don't want to look like a copy paste of everyone on Instagram and social media. And it's just so sad because I mean, I struggled with it really, really bad. I struggled with it so badly. So the fact that I was able to grow from it warms my heart, because I know that I can confidently tell people a few things, and I'll get into two main points. The first one is kind of simpler and it's more recent, and it has to do with makeup. It was a weird transition. I went all of middle school never touching makeup, and feeling like probably the most beautiful girl in the world. A little bit of an inflated ego. I had a lot of self-confidence. And then high school hit and I learned how to use makeup. And once I learned what mascara was, I was not able to leave the house without a pound of makeup on my face every single day until a few months ago. I literally could not leave the house without a full face of makeup. I just couldn't do it. I didn't feel pretty. And when I became friends with Olivia, I would hang out with her and I would notice I was wearing a full face of makeup and Liv wasn't. And I was like, does she not feel the need to dress up for me? But then I realized, no, she just feels beautiful without makeup. Yeah. Like, she just feels beautiful without makeup. And she inspired me, like she does all the time. She inspired me to try at least to stop wearing makeup. And it started over the summer. I would hang out with her and not wear makeup. And I would feel insecure. I wouldn't feel pretty. I wouldn't feel like I looked good. But gradually, over time, what I've noticed is the more time you spend not wearing makeup, the more beautiful you feel without it. Yeah, it's so weird. It's like you have to break it. You have to break that habit in order to feel pretty. Because if I wear makeup 5 days a week and then one day I don't wear makeup, I don't feel that good about myself.
Right. I feel like there is this kind of stigma of like, without makeup you're not as pretty, and then with makeup you're pretty. And I think makeup is a beautiful thing, right? Like, it's creative. You're like painting your face almost, which is cool. So makeup is a really nice thing, but it's not nice anymore when it becomes like, that's the way when you're beautiful. Like, when you're wearing that, you're beautiful now.
That was a beautiful way to put it, because I agree. I love makeup. Yeah. I love looking in the mirror for 30 minutes and having fun and like trying new things and feeling pretty and girly and put together. But you have to love when you wake up in the morning, go to brush your teeth. You have to love what you're looking at. Yeah. And it all comes down to accepting you for who you are. So this is the second point that I wanted to bring up, is that nobody can convince you of something unless you believe it yourself, unless you choose to believe it. And this is one of the things we teach kiddos when we present Words Carry Weight at schools, is when someone picks on you for an insecurity or someone makes fun of you for something, you choose whether or not you're going to believe them. What I mean by that is, if someone points out a supposed flaw or something about your body, if someone says, oh, you have a flat chest, you have the option to decide if that's an insult. If someone says, oh, you have a big nose, you have the option to decide if that's an insult, even if that's how they mean it and they are trying to put you down and they're trying to not make you feel good about yourself. You can say thank you. You can say, I love it. I love my nose. I love my chest, because there are going to be unique things about you and they don't have to always fit the standard. Love your curves, love your non-curves, love your big nose, love your small nose, love your thin lips or love your thick lips. Like, we are so different, and I feel like that's so beautiful, because the most beautiful people are the people who are unapologetically themselves. And this is where I'm getting to, where in middle school, people would make fun of one of my features, and I would go home, and it started in the beginning of high school where those deep-seated insecurities really took root, and I would look in the mirror and cry. I would cry myself to sleep so often because I hated how I looked, or I hated a specific feature about myself. And then I realized that's just because I'm choosing to believe that it's ugly. And when I got more into self-acceptance and self-love, when someone points out one of my supposed flaws, I laugh it off, or I say I love it, because it's true. You have to love yourself, and no one will ever be able to get to you.
Yeah, because anyone pointing out like your flaw supposedly, like, I feel like it's a stigma, like big nose, right? If someone's like pointing that out, just for example, you could be like, yeah, I do have a big nose. good job. You pointed it out, you know what I mean? Because, like, if they're trying to hurl it at you as an insult, they don't love themselves. That's first, like, that's just obvious. They just don't love themselves if they're just attacking someone else. But you can love yourself, and that's your shield. That's your defense. You could be like, I do have a big nose. Thanks for telling me. You know what I mean? Because then you give them power when they tell you something. So you just took their power away over you from hurting you.
It also kind of works both ways. I just really wanted to mention this because it was really, I don't think I told you, Olivia. It made me so happy. But, okay. I was at the beach with my dad, and we walked up to this group of people to inquire about an event that was going on. And my dad was talking to them, and then I chimed into the conversation, and this woman stopped, and she was like, "Are you a singer?" And I was like, "Me?" And she's like, "You have such a beautiful voice. You should become a singer. Do you sing?" This was a few days ago. And I was like, "Only in the shower." And she was like, "You need to become a singer." And my dad and I walked away, and we started dying laughing because we know I can't sing. Like, my dad was like, "Yeah, if she heard you sing, she would plug her ears." Like we know I can't sing. And it's one of those things where it's like, she thought I could sing, but I know I can't sing, which it didn't matter. It's just, it goes to show, like, you have to know who you are. Because imagine if I listened to her and I was like, yeah, I should be a singer. And I started auditioning, you know what I mean? Like, you have to know who you are. You have to love yourself. You have to know your strengths, because it works both ways. Like, if she came up to me and I was a singer and she was like, "Oh my gosh, you have such an ugly voice," I'd be like, "No, that's not true." Like, you know what you have to be confident in who you are and accept yourself and love yourself.
Yeah. Because no one spends more time with you than you. So you know yourself the best out of anyone ever, which means you are the evaluator over who you are.
So what we were talking about earlier reminded me, I think I tell you this all the time. I've definitely told you this. I've told so many people this because I find it so shocking. We watched Mean Girls together.
Yeah.
With David. And when we watched Mean Girls, there's this scene in Mean Girls where they're making fun of Regina George, and they're like, "You have a big butt." And they use that as an insult. And mind you, Mean Girls was like early 2000s. Yeah. And Regina looks at her backside, and she like makes a really disgusted face, and she runs off almost crying. And I just remember every time I watched that, I was like, was having a big butt like a bad thing back then? Because now everyone is so obsessed with having, you know, bigger curves and, you know, slim waist, but a big hips and big chest. So like the fact that beauty standards have changed so much, like they're so day by day.
Mm-hmm. Which this kind of segues into the start of Rachel and I's conversation this morning, which is when I just kind of mentioned, like, I love what happened in the 2000s and like the 90s, like that Y2K era. And like, let me explain. So before that, and definitely in like the 80s, it was high-waisted jeans were just a really big thing. And I think what a lot of people liked about high-waisted jeans is you could just kind of hide your stomach. And then what happened in like the 90s, 2000s era, especially with, I feel like Britney Spears was like a big person who wore this, was low-rise jeans. And I think that is so cool because all of a sudden it wasn't like an insult anymore to have your stomach out. Now it's like, this is my stomach and it's out, and what's the big deal? And low-rise jeans, I mean, that's just really cool, I think. And I feel like stomachs are a big thing that people try to hide if you don't have like rock hard abs, you know what I mean? So this made me think of something with jeans in general, is it kind of, I think it became a thing again, like high-waisted jeans, like that became a thing again more so in our lifetime or recently. And I'm just kind of used to that. And like, even in middle school, like I'm like, what, 12 years old, which is so sad. And I thought like high-waisted jeans were the thing because you could just hide your flaws, essentially. Your flaws being how your stomach looks, because it doesn't look good enough for any standards. And I was like a little 12-year-old with like abs too. Like, and I still thought that that wasn't good enough. And so now I've tried to become more accustomed recently to low-rise jeans. And I know that seems like such a trivial thing, but I think it's actually important. Like, the idea of like, oh, it's okay, like my stomach can be out. And it seems, I think society has made it seem like it's bad, especially if it's not like what society deems as good, as like the perfectly flat stomach. If your stomach is over your jeans or like pushing out more than your jeans are, then that's bad and that's not good looking and you shouldn't wear it like that. Why not though? That's what I think. Wear low-rise jeans, guys. Or anything like that where it shows a part of your body that is deemed as like not kind of, I don't know why I'm saying insult, but like an insult. Like, it's not good to have that out. It's beautiful because it's your body. Wear low-rise jeans.
I love this current trend on social media that shows Instagram versus reality. And it's kind of like people are taking gym pictures, right? Sucking in their stomach, pushing out muscles, using an angle that makes their body look a certain way. Same thing, people cover up cellulite, people cover up stretch marks, people cover up acne. What you see on social media is so incredibly not real. I mean, people take TikTok videos with filters on. Yeah. Like, nothing is real anymore. Like, we're all so falsified. None of us actually look like that. And that's another thing of like, don't put so much power on social media, because I'm a victim of, I will take 300 pictures and post maybe 2 where I think I look best. And I would literally never let those other pictures see the light of day, because it's a still moment in time. I probably don't actually look like that in person. And luckily I don't use Photoshop and I don't believe in that, but I'm still not even doing like society good, because I'm only posting what I think I look the best in. And I love a trend of like, post when your stomach isn't deemed by society to be the most beautiful. Post your stretch marks. Post your cellulite. These are all beautiful, natural things. They're so natural. I don't know why we try to hide it. And one thing I absolutely hate is when we place, as women, our beauty standards in the hands of men.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hate that.
Because oftentimes it does stem from sexualizing women. And I feel like giving into that and letting that drive what you wear, the way you feel like your body should be shaped, how your makeup is, it does no service to you, no good. You're gonna almost, it kind of turns into like you're just looking for a compliment from a male to feel good about how you look.
There was a recent trend of this is gonna sound kind of silly. I'm gonna be really careful with how I word it. I'm a very skinny person. Sometimes people have made comments that they think I'm too skinny and I should try to put on weight. So I've learned for, myself that it goes both ways. You can be insecure if you're underweight, and you can be insecure if you're deemed overweight. Like, society can find anything to pick at you for. So a recent struggle was with the fact that I was too skinny and, those stick comments. And like, some people would argue I shouldn't be complaining because that's what society accepts more. And I recognize that society is more inclined to accept people who are deemed skinnier. But there was a recent trend where men were coming out and saying they like girls who are thicker, and they like girls who have a little bit of a stomach. Like, they find that more attractive. And I would swipe through these videos and I would think, oh, maybe I should gain weight then. Like, oh, maybe I should, like, maybe when I eat a lot, maybe that's cuter. Like, maybe my stomach looks better when it has a little bit of meat on it. And I realized, whoa, like, why am I even considering conforming to what men think is beautiful? Like, your love has to come from within. It cannot be external by any means. You should not be looking at yourself and thinking, okay, what can I change that will make me more attractive to other people? You have to do what you feel best in. If you feel beautiful in your body, which I really, really, really hope you do, or you can try to accept more and love more, because your body is beautiful, it's natural, it's a safe haven, it's meant to protect you. It's not meant to look perfect. It's meant to protect you. It's literally carrying organs, and like it's meant to protect you, and you should treat it. It's a temple.
You're in your body, essentially.
Yeah, you should love it and treat it with kindness and respect, and not try to tweak it based on society and what would be more attractive. And I mean, there are just so many things. I feel like this podcast could go on for forever.
Yeah, I agree. I just want to say, I know we say this a lot, but this is something that we teach to the kids with Words Carry Weight. But it's kind of funny because I like knowing this myself. But we almost have this superpower. And I love seeing it that way. But we have a superpower to love ourselves. We have a superpower to be kind to ourselves. We have that choice. And a lot of people choose not to make that choice because insecurities very easily can take over anyone's brain. But we have that power to, what I like to do, and I know it's common to feel like egotistical or arrogant, but it's really not, is to, if you happen to be in a mirror and be like, oh wow, I really like how my arms look today. That's awesome. Like, literally, if someone's even there, say it out loud, because I feel like that's even powerful, like even more powerful, but you could say it in your head too, or oh, my lips look nice today. Or like, oh, my hair. Like, don't feel like you never have to settle. I feel like a lot of people, I'm actually going to tie this back to Mean Girls again. I know you already gave a Mean Girls reference. But for those of you who haven't seen Mean Girls, there's this scene where the main character, Katie, she goes over to like the popular girl's house. And, you know, they're the ideal looking girls in the movie, and she's so confused that even though everyone wants to look like these girls, they go in front of the mirror and they still start picking themselves apart, and they start pointing out flaws that they see in themselves that they don't like. There is nothing that you have to change. You don't have to keep pushing yourself to be like, oh, but this could be better, but this could be better. This was the body that you're given. It's beautiful, and you can point that out whenever you feel like. It is not at all arrogant or egotistical. You can point out, wow, I really like my elbows today. But I'm just joking. But for real. Or my eyes are beautiful. That's something I've struggled with a little, is because I have brown eyes, which even though most people have brown eyes, I feel like it's deemed not as pretty, right? Like they're just like brown eyes. But like, no. I like the color of my eyes. Even emphasize the compliments on what you usually feel the most insecure about. Because, like, overcompensate almost. Because that's how you're going to switch your mindset.
Yeah, it's funny because I tell my dad now, the two things that I was the most incredibly insecure about a few years ago are probably my two favorite things about myself now. Because there's this learning curve in self-love where you think you're hideous and you're ugly, and that thing needs to be cut off or changed or you know, modified in order for you to feel beautiful. And you hit such a low point that when you get over that hump, you realize, no, that is what gives me my beauty. That is what makes me unique. That is what makes my face tie together. If that changed, I wouldn't look like myself. And I hate to say it, and I know we brought up the Kardashians in the beginning of the podcast, but these top models, these people who are so famous on social media, they have spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to modify their body and their face. And I know it's a tough pill to swallow, and I'm a girl's girl. I actually have a lot of respect for the Kardashians. I'm not trying to tear them down by any means, but they are pretty open with the fact that they have had surgeries, and they are now coming out and stating that they regret ever having those surgeries because now they know they're setting unrealistic beauty standards for their daughters. Because now they have daughters and they're putting them out into this world that has such unrealistic beauty standards, and they know their hearts would break if their daughters ever felt like they needed to change anything about themselves.
Yeah.
I respect that, and I respect the fact that they're so vocal about it because, guys, almost every person who you think is flawless or has that unnatural body, it's because they paid to. And this is for men too. If you're a man and you sticked around long enough for this podcast, I know it was kind of catered towards women, but we're two girls, so that was what we were trying to target. But if you're a dude and you're still listening, I just want to get it into your head to, first of all, I see you, and I know that the stigma for men also sucks. I mean, dudes posting, gym pictures and our pose, and they show abs but never show, they never show their flaws on social media. And I've been really close with boys who struggled with body image issues, and I see you and I recognize you. We're all human. We all have human bodies, and we need to start accepting and learning and loving that that's okay. But I also want to say, if you're a dude, please do not also fall into this negative picture that we have painted of women's bodies on social media, especially on TikTok, and especially on just these social media apps where girls, show off their body and they body check and they have perfect hourglass figures. If you want a girlfriend, please have realistic standards and don't compare her to these unrealistic things on the internet. Yeah. Because it's not realistic. And if you ever want to have a girlfriend or even just a partner, do not hold them to such unrealistic standards, and don't you dare compare their bodies to those of that on the internet, because that is all falsified, it's all posed, and it's not real.
Yeah, I agree. And I also want to say, even though there is a lot of influencers who have that, quote unquote, perfect body, and they have changed their body through surgery or Botox or different stuff like that. But you might be thinking right now, well, oh, I know about some people and they haven't changed their body. They just have the perfect body. They were just lucky enough to get it. I feel like that's a thought. They were just lucky to get the perfect body. Well, that's awesome for them. I feel like that's great for them that they have a body, and I hope they love the body that they have. But please don't compare yourself to other people thinking oh, they just happen to have a great body and I don't, because that's not true. They have a great body and their body looks this way, and if your body looks different, that doesn't mean your body's bad because it doesn't look like those people. Your body is still beautiful, even if it doesn't look like what is deemed as perfect.
You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of, I feel like we always want what we can't have. Yeah. People who were, when they were younger, with curly hair, they would hate their hair and want straight hair. And if you had straight hair, you would want curly hair so bad. Or if you had a big chest, sometimes you would compare yourself to girls with smaller chests, and you'd be like, no, I want a smaller chest. If you had a small chest, sometimes you would compare yourself to girls with bigger chests. I feel like we always want what we can't have, and it's such a sad thing that what we don't have, we deem as more beautiful. Yeah. We need to start loving what we do have and accepting everyone's bodies, because everyone's bodies are beautiful, and we're all so uniquely made and so uniquely beautiful.
Yeah. And I also want to say that I want to just kind of touch on the other side of this coin, where if you are unhappy with the health of your body and that's something that you want to change, where it could be eating better or exercise or natural remedies to improve the health of your body, that is awesome. Good luck on your journey. That's incredible. And if that's what you want for yourself, to feel more confident, then that's amazing. We're just kind of touching on like, oh, my lips need to be bigger, or my chest needs to be bigger or smaller, whatever it is, like changing the size or the proportion of something in your body. But if this is in regards to your health, where you feel unhappy with your body, please, by all means, do what it takes for you to feel happy and healthy in your own body.
That was a beautiful way to end this episode, because above all, what is most important is your health.
Absolutely.
Do not listen to anyone's opinions of what your body is supposed to look like if you know you are being healthy and taking care of yourself, because can't emphasize it enough. Your body is a temple. Love it, nurture it, care for it, appreciate it, be kind to it, be gentle with it. Your health is the most important thing. And that's the one thing that we can emphasize is be healthy. And if you know you're healthy, it doesn't matter what anyone says about your body. Health is the most important thing. So thank you guys so much for listening.
Yeah. And please, if anyone has a comment on you look anorexic or you look overweight, if your doctor didn't tell you that, then that's just not true. Please, listen to your doctor is the only important thing. No one else's opinions matter. Please stay healthy, love yourself, repeat those positive affirmations. All of your bodies and faces are beautiful, and we love you guys. Thank you for listening.
Bye.